Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The intent of this article should be up on the screen, thank you. The article will allow the school district to enter into a successor 3-year contract with the Timberlane Teachers Association. The proposed contract ratified by the union and the school board represents a 3% increase in salary and a $210,000 cost savings in insurance for year 1, a 2.3 increase in salaries in year 2, and a 2.5 increase in salaries in year 3. That's the intent statement that will appear on the ballot. If I could have the next slide. Just to give you a little bit of information about the summary of changes, this chart shows salaries for each of the 3 years. We have a step system here, so 16, 17, steps 1 through 14 would have a 0.75% increase. And the step increase for step 15, which is the top of our system, would be a 2% increase. In 17, 18, steps 1 through 14 would receive a 0.5% increase, and step 15, again the top, would receive a 1.0% increase. In 18, 19, steps 1 through 14, a 0.5, and step 15, a 1.5% increase. Some of the other changes in the sick bank maximum was increased from 600 days to 1,000 days. Some additional changes were in the language that addresses requirements and mandates of the Affordable Care Act, incorporating online learning blizzard bag days provisions, clarifications to credit and course reimbursement allocations, and permitting the superintendent to hire candidates up to 2 steps higher for positions designated as critical shortage areas in an effort to secure qualified, experienced teachers.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Moderator?
Yes?
In addition, I wanted to, if I could have a little leeway, Mr. Moderator, thank the chair of the school board negotiating team, Mr. Rick Blair from Plastow. He is not running for re-election. We will miss him desperately. I think he deserves a round of applause. Thank you, Rick, for all you have done. Do you have any, Mr. Moderator, would you mind turning over my part of the time to Mr. Blair if he has any additional comments about the work he did?
No, I do not. Mr. Blair, if you'd like to say a few words.
So I know from the general public, if you're looking at the step charts, it may seem a little unfair that people from step 1 through 14 seem to be getting less of a raise. I want to put you at ease that typically someone who does their job well will transition from one step to the next in addition to getting that raise that was demonstrated by Mrs. Sherman. The average is approximately 3.6% increase in salary to move up the steps. So someone who is on steps 1 through 14 typically will increase their rate by 3.6 plus the amount that was shown in that table. That's how we end up showing average salary increases of approximately 3% for the first year and the other figures that Sue had mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. I'll open it up for the floor for discussion only. Article 4 is not amendable because it is a collective bargain agreement, but I will open it up to the floor for discussion. Yes, Mrs. Green.
Thank you. I do have a question because the material presented at public hearing is a little bit different from the material presented here, and I just wanted to clear that up. At public hearing, in addition to the changes that Mrs. Sherman mentioned, there was the increase of $5 a day for unused sick day redemptions, and I don't see that mentioned here. I'd like to know what the status of that is.
Yes, Mr. Blair.
I can speak to that. When the new contract was drafted, it shows a change in this area, and the dollar figures are up by $5. However, if you go back to the original contract, there was a stipulation that for the third year of the current contract, those dollar values actually increased at that point in time, and hence for the new contract, there actually is no increase. It is status quo from the previous contract, but only from the last year of the previous contract.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Any other comment?
So,
Yes, Jack.
I'm in favor of this article. I would just like to, at this point, thank the teachers. They're the backbone of this district. And I'd like to thank you for all the work you do and what you do with our kids. I've had 2 kids go through this district, and they're better people because of it. So for the people that work with the teachers, the staff, especially those people that I don't think some people realize, teachers are staying here 2-3 hours after school to work with the kids, gratis. Those are things that typically don't get measured in these types of conversations and dialogues. So thank you very much for what you do from the bottom of my heart.
Yes, Mrs. Green.
thank you. I'm not quite clear on the answer that I received. So is it the case that the new contract represents a $5 per sick day redemption increase or not?
It does not. The increase actually occurred in this current contract at the third year of the current contract.
So just to
That-
be clear, I was told at public hearing that this was the case in the new contract, just to be clear. So now I understand that that wasn't correct.
Okay. Anything new on Article number 4?